What's up, everybody? It is Matt from Electric All Wheel, and today we have the Luckeep X1 folding electric bike, 750 watt rear hub mag wheel, 20x4 fat tire. We are going to install some HEB Viperess tires on here. We're going to give it some flat out, quarter to half a bag. We'll figure it out. Brad says half. I'm just like, whatever. There is a description on the bag itself, so check that out. Keep in mind, we will leave links for all of the products that we use in the description below, and we appreciate your support of the Electric All Wheel channel by using those links, so thank you very much. We anticipate a good ride with these tires. It'll reach the upper limits of the bike speed. They are Class B, so speed limit 31 continuous. They are 30 TPI tires, and they have a kick butt tread pattern on them, so we're looking forward to seeing them on this bike. We're also going to be adding a suspension seat post for this bike. Let's see. 33.9 millimeter diameter. We're going to give you the link for 27.2 to 33.9 millimeter shim for the bike case suspension seat post and the seat as well. So look for those links in the description below. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It is our primary, and if you're in the area, check out e-bikes of Tampa Bay, Florida. Get in that Facebook group, make an event, and go for a ride with your friends. Let's get this thing racked up and get to it. Okay, this thing does come with two tubes. We're probably going to reuse the tubes that are on the bike right now. Just know that it does come with tubes, and then these things are smashed down, I'm assuming, for shipping purposes, and it makes it easier to get it in the box. First things first, let's undo the motor cable. There we go. That's loose. Getting this loose, and it looks like the derailleur guard is actually hanging on the axle by tightness of this nut, so keep that in mind. So we're going to loosen that one, and then we're going to come over here and loosen this one. And then I'm going to take this thing off. Just make sure that I can get out around my chain, etc. And then we'll get the wheel off. From there, I'm going to take my core removal tool for my valve stem, and I've shaved this off. You may have a problem with that. Just know that it's not an all the way through metal piece, so if you hit it just beyond the halfway mark, about 3/4, you should be able to get through without cutting into metal. This is the flat out removal tool. Now I'm just breaking the tire off the rim. I'm gonna get a wrench for this bad boy. There we go. Go ahead and get at this tube. we go. We're going to take our Viperess tire, and when we look at it, it's always the lettering on the right-hand side, and you always want to center up your lettering over your valve stem hole for your rim so that they are on the same position on the wheel. So lettering and then the drive side, that's what we're after. So I'm going to go ahead and slip this on. There's that. I'm going to go ahead and take this core out. I'm going to give it some air real quick so I can get some form to it. Perfect. I'm going to take my flat out. Just going to pull this end out, pull this cap off, which is a valve core removal tool as well. Plug that in here. And then I'm going to get my flat out in there, going about a quarter of a bottle into, or quarter of a bag into the tube. And just a little bit more, actually. Perfect. Now, if you get a plug, just remember that you want to poke it out in your valve stem, and then you may check the head of the bag as well, but it looks like it's flowing pretty good. Go. And then I like to clean this off. A lot of people say they like to use Q-tips. I'm just going to put the compressor on it real quick and blow it out. I'm going to put my core back in. Just tight. You don't have to over tighten these things. Now I'm going to hit some air. I'm going to give this form, and that's it. Nothing more than just a little bit of form to the tube. That'll do. Now I've got my stem kind of lined up with the lettering as we discussed. And then once I get that going, then I'm going to put it through the rim so that I can hold it down with the cap. There we go. Now that that's on there, start working this tire on. And all I'm doing is just working the tire into the center of the rim so it'll go on a little bit easier. Just like that. Perfect. What I'm going to do is get some air in this thing. I'm not going to pump it all the way up. I just want to get some air in it, give it some form, and then I'm going to work the tire onto the rim. So we are avoiding situations like this. We don't want that. So we're trying to keep it from bulging out like you just saw. Okay, I've worked it around the rim. This is a 30 PSI max tire, and that's probably what we're going to pump up to right at the beginning. but I've checked to make sure that there are no bulges, and so I'm just going to give it that pressure now. And then we'll be mindful that we're following the line all the way around the rim, so we just want to make sure that that's the way it fits all the way around. Now this one's going to be a little tricky because I'm going to need to come inside the derailleur real quick, get it hooked up, and then I've got to slip this derailleur guard onto the axle before I tighten it. After I get that focused and I get my washers into this, I need to make sure that I am matching the disc into the caliper. This is going to be my primary focus once I get everything prepped to get into the dropouts. So right now what I'm doing is I'm looking at my wheel and looking at my inside washers and making sure that they're going to come in from the bottom. Now I'm getting everything spaced out. Get my chain around it. Get my derailleur around the wheel. Now I'm looking at my disc for my disc brakes. That in. Now I'm taking my derailleur guard and it goes on the inside of the washer for this thing. I'm just going to get these tight. Now I'm going to do kind of a finger tight scenario where it'll just hang. I'll do the front wheel and then I'm going to use gravity once I drop this bike to help tighten it down and make sure that it's seated correctly. Take my motor cable, run it back up here. Now there are arrows on the face of these things right here, and you just line up the arrows, make sure they're pointed at one another, and that'll give you your alignment for your connection. Perfect. Taking the zip tie. There we go. So the front has these little hanger washers on it, which I really like. Makes it easy, you just take it loose. And that's it, and they'll hang there. I back these off just enough to get that to come loose, do it on the other side, and then voila. Get this cap. Remove the core. Go ahead and remove the valve stem from the rim so that you can get the tube out. So we got that. Go ahead and hook up my flat out tube. Give this quarter or more of the bag. This will wipe. And I'm gonna blow out some of this air, or I'm gonna blow out this tube, get that flat out of the stem, give it some form. That's good. Come back core back in. Perfect. More air. Perfect. Set that aside. Lettering on the right hand side. Left hand side is the disc, so this will be opposite. We'll go ahead and get that on there. There we go. I'm going to line that up over the valve stem hole in the rim, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my tube into the tire. And then when I get it in there, we'll put a cap on it so it can't come out. Feed the rest of the tube inside the tire. Now I'm going to feed the tire over the rim as well. There we go. I'm going to give this some form and then make sure that it's seating well on the rim. That is looking pretty good. Now this one should be a bit easier because it does have these little hangers on the washers, and that makes it a whole lot easier. Nice spacing, and then when I lift this up, I'm paying attention to the disc brake. And then I'm using the little hangers to help me hold it. So we've got the tires installed. Now I'm going to get this thing off of here, use that gravity to help seat the rear axle on this thing, and then we're going to get that suspension seat post on here. Loosen up the other side real quick. Make sure that it is in there as well, and then I'm going to tighten them down. Just make sure that your alignment on your derailleur guard is good. Now for the seat post swap, we are going to be utilizing the 27.2 millimeter diameter seat post from Bike Case Suspension Seat Post. This thing is the bomb. We'll leave a link for it in the description below. And then we're going to be using a Cloud9 seat with its own suspension, giving us the double whammy for this hardtail bike. We will also leave a link for the 27.2 33.9 millimeter diameter shim. This will just slip right in here and become the full-on replacement for this seat post. You can reuse this seat. You just need to take this loose and you can put it in place of that, but we like the Cloud9. It gives us a little bit more. And if you're wondering what this plastic bag here is, it is the dual battery setup for the Luckeep X1. We managed to get a second battery here on the frame, so it's essential to have a suspension seat post if you're going to be riding a lot of miles like that. And there we go. Well, there you have it. We have successfully installed the HEB Viperess 20x4 fat tires on this Luckeep X1. And we also got the bike case suspension seat post with a 33.9 millimeter diameter shim to fit the Luckeep X1. You guys check out the dual battery video where we installed a down tube battery right here on the frame of the bike. I believe these additions really cap out this bike and make it extra special, especially with the suspension seat post, and that tread pattern on those Viperess tires is pretty awesome. We will leave links for all of these products in the description below, and we really appreciate you using those links to help support the Electric All Wheel channel, so thank you very much. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It is our primary, and if you're in the area, check out e-bikes of Tampa Bay, Florida. You got to get in the Facebook group, make an event to go for a ride with your e-bike friends. We'll talk to you next time.